Chodesh Tov. We're starting a new lesson and a new period in the year, Bezat Hashem. And Bezat Hashem, good things should come out of this class. This lesson, 67, LIkutey Mohoran, was connected to Rabbi Nachman's wife's passing. His first wife, Sasha. She passed away on Thursday, Erev Shavuot, in the year, I think it was 1807. And Rabbi Nachman gave this lesson on the second day of Shavuot. That year he didn't speak on the first day. He was quiet. And only on the second day of Shavuot he spoke. And this is the lesson he gave. And it talks about the passing away of a soul and kavod, the idea of kavod. And he goes to the idea of Adam and Eve, Adam and Chava, we're going to see. Then there's amazing concepts in this lesson. How Rabbi Nachman is able to connect so many ideas that you never imagined how they can be connected, and he brings it in such a powerful way. And then he brings out after that the practical eitzah, the advice that comes out of it. It's phenomenal. Mamash, someone who doesn't pay attention to what people say, whether machloket or whatever, just pressure, and just reads the teachings of Rabbi Nachman purely, sincerely, just without any pressure or any biased opinion, just with an emisdik attitude, you'll see amazing things. You'll see things that you don't find in any other book. I'm sorry to say this, but it's for anyone who's tasted it, they'll see it. It's not just another sefer, another Musar sefer, it's something phenomenal. But to taste it, you have to block off everything, all biases, all pniot, all things that I know before. Just put everything on the side and let Rabbi Nachman talk to you, and you'll see phenomenal things. Mamash. And this is a personal thing. This is a personal avodah for somebody to have a personal connection with the LIkutey Mohoran, to start learning it again with earnest, with sincerity, with honesty. You begin to see that this is not just a regular sefer. There's just a story I mentioned a while ago. I'll say it again. Rabbi Nachman had a follower. His name was the Maggid of Terovitza. He was in his 80s when he became a follower of Rabbi Nachman, who was in his 20s, 80s. He was a friend to the Maggid of Chernobyl and the Rav Shneur Zalman Balatanya, the Alter Rebbe of Lubavitch. He gave a haskama on the original edition of the Siddur Ha'ari that the Alter Rebbe of Lubavitch put out. One of the haskamot was from this Maggid of Terovitza. He was called Rabbi Yekutiel, the Maggid of Terovitza. His family's name is known. They even found his kever recently. They know where his kever is even in the Ukraine. In some village, it's called Terovitza, or I don't know exactly where. But this man was a big person. He saw the Baal Shem Tov. He was close to the Maggid and the students of the Maggid. And he bent himself. He was a Maggid of at least 84 towns and villages in the Ukraine. He was a Maggid. That means, like a Rebbe, if you wanted. When he had a Maggid, that means he had the ability to have hashpah on 80 towns and villages in the Ukraine. They listened to him. He would come and give drashot, and they would listen to him. He bent himself to become a chassid of Rabbi Nachman, who was in the 20s. It's something hard to understand. What was one of the stories that got him is that his son-in-law, Rav Gershon, he discovered Rabbi Nachman and his teachings, and he started to tell his father-in-law about the greatness of Rabbi Nachman's Torah. So he told him once, I want to show me one of his Torahs. So Rav Gershon brought to his father-in-law, the Maggid of Terovitza, a copy of LIkutey Mohoran, Torah number 3, Torah Gimel. It's called Akrukta. And he began to look at it, Rav Yekutiel. And as he was learning the Torah and he finished it, he was so amazed. He told the people around him, this is even greater. Look at this. It's not me saying this, it's not somebody else saying it. This is brought down. He said, this is even greater than the Tikkunei Zohar from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He says he couldn't believe the depth in this lesson. It's even greater. He said it's bypassing that. He read that. That was one of the steps he nullified himself to Rabbi Nachman and his teachings. Again, we're not looking to convert people to Breslov, but I'm just saying there's something special about this sefer. It's phenomenal. And every lesson is something, a refreshing new attitude in approaching certain things in the Torah that you knew about, but in this combination, in this format, and in this presentation you've never seen before. And what's amazing about the sefer is that if you keep on going back to it, even if you learn the lesson, you go back to 10 years later, you see it in a totally different perspective, and you feel like this is the first time I'm saying this. It's true, you can say this about everything. We learn every year Chumash and Rashi, and every year Chumash and Rashi there's newer insights, there's newer asagot. Also someone who does the Daf Yomi and Gemara and Mishnayos. You see, fine, you see new chidushim. but in a new dimension, like totally new. Like I'm doing this for the first time. It's something special about this sefer, and I can talk and talk and talk and talk, but a person has to on their own do this, to take a lesson without any bias, without any ulterior pniot, what they call in Hebrew, to look at the sefer honestly and sincerely, and you will see amazing things. You'll get such a fire of Yirat Shamayim, literally, and an awareness of Hashem in your life. It's just absolutely phenomenal. There was Rabbi Leo Chaim Rosen, he was the Rosh Hashiva of Breslov in Yermashar. He built the shul. Whenever he would just talk about Rabbi Nachman, he would start to cry. He would get so emotional because these people, they spoke from the experience they had in these teachings, what they felt, and just talking about it, it stirs really amazing things inside. Al Kopanim, we're going to stop because I can't go on and on and on about this. We have to start the Torah. Bezat Hashem. So this is Torah Samach Zayin. It was revealed on Shavuot. So in a way, it's Inyan Adiyoma because we're now in between Pesach and Shavuot. So this lesson is it's shaykh to many things, to this period of time, Bezat Hashem. So he starts off the Torah like this. Again, I hope you have the lesson, Samach Zayin. And not to get confused with the second part of the Likutey Mohoran Tinyana, where there's also Samach Zayin. This is Kama. It's called Likutey Mohoran Kama Samach Zayin. The lesson is called Vayiven, Hashem Elokim et Hatzela. Every lesson in Likutey Mohoran has like a name, has a title, and it's taken normally from the opening of the lesson, the opening verse that Rabbi Nachman brings, or Chazal that he brings. That's how the lesson is titled. And this one's called Vayiven, Hashem Elokim et Hatzela. Okay? You have it? Samach Zayin? So it starts like this. So Rabbi Nachman is quoting from Parshat Bereshit, which is strange because it has nothing to do with Shavuot, but the ideas, that's what he wants to bring out. And about him and his wife, in a way, there's a hint here. Vayiven Hashem Elokim et Hatzela asher lakach v'chule. Right? It says in Genesis, in Bereshit, and Hashem built, Hashem the Lord, Hashem Elokim, built the side. Tzela has many interpretations. The Rashi brings down there in the Chumash, where one says it's a rib, one says it's the side, the back part of Adam Arishon. She was on the back to back, achor b'achor, and Hashem split them. When he put Adam to sleep, he cut, they did like a surgery, he cut them, and then he built her part, and then he brought her to Adam. But the other opinion is that it's an actual rib, tzela, on the side, that Hashem did a surgery, took out a rib, and from that developed all of Chava. Okay? So that's the word tzela, which means side. Hashem built up the rib, the side that he took from the man, etc. Rabbi Nachman, he says, v'chule. Vayve'eha el Adam, and then he brought her to Adam Arishon. So now in the Gemara, Masechet Nida, they have many opinions about this, the presentation that Hashem did bringing Chava to Adam Arishon. So you have a few opinions. One is Reish Lakish, there's another Rav there. There's a few opinions. These are just two. Rabbi Nachman now is going to bring two of the opinions in the Gemara Nida, Masechet Nida, page 45, Daf Nun Mem Hey. It says there, Chad Amar Melamed Shenatan Ba Bina Yetera. So one opinion, I think this is Reish Lakish, it says in the Gemara, that by saying that the Torah uses the word Vayiven, and Hashem the Lord built the rib, and the building Chava, the word building, so Vayiven is very similar to the word in Hebrew Bina, which means understanding. So he wants to learn out from this that the pasuk says that Hashem built her. It's not just the physical construction of building her, because there's many other words you could use in the Hebrew language, in Lashon HaKodesh, to express that idea. But that the word Vayiven is used, shows that it's a hint to something else, to the word Bina. So Melamed Shenatan Ba Bina Yetera. So it teaches us that Hashem gave her what's called deeper intuition. Bina is intuition. Bina, it's like what's called woman's intuition that they call it. Now what's funny is Rabbi Nachman in this lesson is going to explain Bina Yetera to the exact opposite of that. What's Bina Yetera? It's like a plus. The woman has extra, this Chava, she was built with extra intuition. And we're going to see coming up in the lesson that he's going to explain it the exact opposite. Yetera from motarot, excess. The excess of the bina. What's motarot, what's not needed. The excess of the brain, of the mind, of the knowledge. That's how he's going to explain it. He's going to do the exact opposite. And pointing this out, this is an amazing rule. When learning the Likutey Mohoran Be'iyun in depth, this is a question that pops up. Rabbi Nachman, how could you interpret these words to go to be the exact opposite of the pshat in the Gemara. The Gemara gives an explanation, bina yetera, as a plus. Hashem created a rule of extra intuition, and here you come in the Torah, in this lesson, LIkutey Mohoran, and you explain the exact opposite. That the yetera, the excess, what's not like the hair is excess, the excess of the bina, what's not needed, as something is minus. And how could you do that, Rabbi Nachman? To take one idea and explain the exact opposite? So this is a question to be asked when learning LIkutey Mohoran. That because Rabbi Nachman normally, he doesn't go against the pshat meaning. In other words, his chidush can and normally enhances what's brought down in Chazal. But that here, he goes against the exact opposite of the pshat of the Gemara, question mark. And it's a question mark meaning that he's leaving it up to you to do the research, to do the iyun in everything available in Chazal or all the mefarshim on this Gemara to understand what is the nature of bina yetera, and then how come Rabbi Nachman's explaining to be the exact opposite. That I'm just mentioning on the side. This is the type of question that should come up when a person learns LIkutey Mohoran. You're supposed to ask these type of questions. He wants you to. That you're going against the pshat. Where you give a chidush and it's exact. If it's built on the pshat, I can accept it. If it's a new dimension, it doesn't. But here goes against it. Here is the exact opposite. Bina yetera, and then he says motarot of the bina. The two opposites. Come on. So that's a question to be asked, and it's a good question, and this requires more study in order to answer it, B'ezrat Hashem. V'chadamar, another opinion says, melamed shekela'a lechava ve'viya el adam. Another opinion in the Gemara says that Hashem braided the hair, kela'ah, he braided the hair of Chava and brought her to Adam HaRishon. So this Rav, who says this opinion, how does he learn out braiding hair from this pasuk? Where do you see braiding indicated? So he brings down that in the Gemara, that the word vayiven is similar to the Aramaic word. There's a word in Targum, and it's in Aramaic it's bana'a. And they say braiding, the word kela'ah in Lashon HaKodesh is bana'a in Aramaic. So he saw hidden in the word vayiven Hashem Elokim et hatzela that it's referring to braiding. And what do you have braiding on a woman? Hair. Obviously, the braiding of the hair. So coming up, and what's interesting in the Gemara, these are only two opinions. There's much more. Right? Rashi brings down, for example, in the Chumash Vayiven, that Hashem created a woman like an otzar, asa'a ke'otzar. Just like a silo. A silo is where you contain the wheat and the flour. So if you make it just like it's a big container. If you make it that it's straight like this, it's going to collapse. Rashi explains like that. So it has to be shaped like this so that the wall will be supportive. If it's going like this, so there's more support on the weight of what's above to the wall on the bottom. Whereas if it was straight like this, so the weight and the heaviness of the greatness of the height of the silo, because it's a straight wall and it's a thin wall, it's a metal thing, whatever, or plastic, so it can collapse, it can crack, it can break, whatever. So it's built like this, and a woman is built like that also, so she can contain, Rashi brings down there, the vlad, the child, B'ezrat Hashem, when pregnancy happens, etc. So, but Rabbeinu here is taking two of the opinions, and coming up in the lesson, he's going to show how they're one. That this rabbi who says, Bina Yetera, and this one who says her hair was braided, he says coming up, Hainu hach vela plige. It's the exact same thing they're saying. It's coming up in the second part of the Torah. If you remember, I mentioned that every lesson in LIkutey Mohoran, if you learn it over and over and again, you'll see every Torah has a Resha and a Seifa. There's the first part, there's the beginning part, and there's a second part. There's like the first part, which leads to the Seifa of the Torah. That's how it works in most of the Torahs. You see it sticking out in the LIkutey Mohoran. What he's saying here, this part here about the hair and the Bina Yetera will come up in the second part of the Torah, B'ezrat Hashem. So this is Rabbi Nachman's introduction. This Gemara and this Pasuk. So now he starts with something which is totally unrelated. That's how he works in LIkutey Mohoran. That he starts off at the main point. And how he works is backwards. He says something, and then he shows how to get to it. In other words, how to come to these points. So now Aleph starts with the climax. The whole goal of this lesson is this, what he's saying right now. HaNefesh hi yikara me'od. The soul is something very precious. You have a nefesh. What is the nefesh? We're going to go into it. The nefesh is something which is very precious. V'tzarich liot zahir ba, and you have to be very cautious, very careful with it, with your nefesh. Uleshomra me'od, and you have to guard it. You have to guard your nefesh. What's he talking about? What? I have a nefesh inside, I guard my nefesh. The pasuk says, right, you have to guard your nefeshot. I understand that meaning, like you have to watch your health, you have to not do dangerous things, you're not to do things which is pikuach nefesh, you're not to do things which is dangerous, to walk on a tight walk, across the Grand Canyon without a catch. It's asur for a Jew to do that. That people do that, I can understand. People do dangerous things, evil Knievel, doing crazy things. That's asur. You have to watch your nefesh. But he's saying something deeper. Can't be just that. He's saying it's very precious, and because it's very precious, you have to watch it very carefully and guard it very carefully. Rav Nosson in the Likutey Tfilot on this lesson, and for those who don't know about it yet, every lesson in Likutey Mohoran, or at least the majority of the lessons in Likutey Mohoran, they have a prayer written on it by Rav Nosson. Rav Nosson, the disciple of Rabbi Nachman, he wrote of a sefer called Likutey Tfilot, and in it you have prayers which are based on the lessons in Likutey Mohoran. In the main, the numbering is the same. So like this is lesson 67, so you have their prayer 67. These prayers are phenomenal. Among the many things that they offer is they also explain the lessons in Likutey Mohoran. That's why it's very, very, very necessary and very handy and very useful when learning the Likutey Mohoran to do with it together Rav Nosson's prayer. It mamash enhances it. You get more connected and you understand the ideas from the emunah perspective, from the davening perspective. And again, by the way, Rav Nosson explains, by adding all these words in the davening, he explains clearer the ideas, that the concepts that Rabbeinu is mentioning in the Torah. So on this thing of the nefesh yikar me'od, Rav Nosson goes on almost to a whole paragraph on explaining the greatness of the Jewish soul, how the souls were created before creation, and Hashem was mishtasheh, Hashem was taking delight in the souls of Am Yisrael before the creation, and it was nimlach, Hashem took counsel with the Jewish souls on how to create the world, and the Jewish souls are above all the worlds, all the sefirot, everything, and then he goes into the Shir HaShirim, the Midrash on Shir HaShirim, that brings down, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says in the Midrash that Hashem did not, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai asked the son of Rabbi Yossi HaGalili, did you hear anything about this pasuk in Shir HaShirim, Pitchili Achoti, that the husband is saying to his beloved, in other words, Hashem is saying to Knesset Yisrael, Am Yisrael, open up the door for me, my Achoti, my sister. So he goes in there, the Midrash, that Hashem calls Am Yisrael, my daughter, my sister, my mother. Hashem, out of his love for Am Yisrael, he shows that you're like, at first, you're my daughter, and then you're now at my level, you're my sister, and then you're my mother even. Hashem calls Am Yisrael my mother, out of love. It's a Midrash. Rashi brings it down in Shir HaShirim, on Shir HaShirim. But Rav Nosson goes on to express that your soul is something extremely powerful and precious, and it's chaval to be mezalzel it. We're going to see in this lesson, there's a few things how to guard your soul. One of the primary things is eating. That someone now who respects his soul and realizes that he's not just a schlep and not just an anybody, this will automatically, B'ezrat Hashem, with this realization, refine their way of eating. They won't just eat anything, because the eating is what determines the connection between the body and the neshama, the nefesh. So if you are aware of the greatness of your soul, you're not just going to eat anything and eat like the way, chas v'shalom, you're not supposed to eat, right? So that's one thing that he expresses in this lesson. And another thing is when kavod comes along your way, when honor, when you feel you're being honored, both by Hashem and by people, but especially by Hashem, where Hashem starts giving you gifts in life. You see things happening, you see beautiful things. So the trick is that people tend to begin to think, I'm a somebody. Look at this. Hashem is lifting me up. I'm seeing things are working out in life. I'm matzliach in my limudim, in my avodat Hashem. And many areas of life are just advancing. So it's a trick that you have to take the kavod and just throw it back to Hashem, to be boreach me'akavod, to run away from the kavod, as opposed to taking it for yourself. And he says that's the biggest danger, chas v'shalom, is when a person takes the kavod, so then he risks losing his nefesh. It could mean, on pshat, number one, to actually die when it's coming up, or it means that we have what's called, like on Shabbos, a neshama yetera. You get gifts in life. Every time you have a new hitchatshut in life, it's Hashem giving you a new neshama. What is this new neshama? He writes, Chaim Kramer in the commentary, it's not clear what Rabbi Nachman means. It could mean actually children, to have new children, to have the schut of fathering new actual souls. But it also means that you yourself get in life, there's times of re-energizing, that you see there's a boost, something's happening, and you just jumped up a level. That is what we're getting a nefesh chadash. That's how he coins it. This comes out from Rav Noson's writings, both in Likutey Tefillot and the Likutey Halachot. This is the understanding, that it's a boost. So I went ahead a little, but to say that this is the main way of guarding the neshama is by handling kavod when it comes your way, and this factor of eating. And when it says kavod coming your way, it means to redirect the kavod to who it's supposed to go to, which is Hashem. But part of Hashem's request is you have to honor what He wants you to honor. For example, to honor Torah scholars, to honor Talmidei Chachamim, which is a major theme in this lesson on the second half. He talks about honoring Talmidei Chachamim, scholars who, because of their oldness, they forgot their Torah. You have Zekenim Sheshachach Talmudo, it's called. An elder who lost his Torah wisdom, you have to respect them. It's a Gemara in Masechet Brachot. So he talks about this idea that you have to redirect the kavod to the right address, not to take it for yourself. Chas v'shalom. Al kol panim, we're going to continue. V'tzarich liyot zahir ba u'lishomra me'od. Al ken. So therefore, because you have to guard your soul, and because your soul is very precious, tzarichin lizahir me'od. You have to be very careful. When? Kesheba eze kavod chadash la'adam. When a new honor comes along the way to a person. Kavod, what is honor? The word kavod, by the way, in English, it means many things. It means glory, but also means honor. Glory means you're amazed by the glory of Hashem. You're aware of it. The greatness of Hashem, the glory, there's a presence, there's a presentation, and you feel it. And also actually honoring that you bend yourself down to another entity, another being, that's kavod. You honor something. You honor your parents, you honor another person, you're respectful, you treat them in a respectful manner, meaning that you're willing to put yourself on the side and give them the room of proper respect. That's the idea. Kavod, honor, and respect. So he says here, Ki kavod hu em kol chai. What is honor? Honor is called like Eve, Chava, em kol chai, the mother of all the living. He's not going to prove it so much. He's going to explain the concept, and through his explaining the concept, you can understand this how to be true. He doesn't bring like an express pasuk to show you how is honor connected to mother of all living, but how he explains the idea, you understand how it fits in. He wants to focus, Rabbi Nachman here, Rabbeinu, that kavod is like a mother, like an ima, and he calls it the mother of all living. We're going to see his pasuk that he brings to prove it from that. There's a pasuk from Isaiah coming up, Yeshaya. From the pasuk, you understand this to be the case. So he explains. Look what he wants to say. Kavod, glory, honor, is the mother of all living. V'ushorish kol hanefashot, and it's the root of all the souls. The soul is rooted in kavod. This is an amazing statement. The souls are rooted in kavod. Ukeshanefesh mistaleket, and when a soul passes away from this world, what does it go to? He mistaleket el hakavod. The soul goes up to honor. That's where it goes to. When a soul passes away, okay, we understand when a soul passes away, it goes up to Gan Eden, it goes up back to the other world, goes back to its source. What is the source? In other words, we know the source of everything is Hashem. But which aspect of Hashem does the soul fit into? It's called kavod, honor. This is a very deep concept. It requires a lot of explanation. Just to, in short, to explain it. We see that honor is something that runs the world. On Pshat even, by the Goyim, by the world. We see that the desire for people to exist is to attain honor. How is that expressed? That the majority of people in the world, they run after power and money. Why are people working? Why are people eating? Why are people getting up every morning? We're talking about Goyim now, the world. Why are people doing what they're doing? Because they have a goal, they have an ambition. What is their ambition? It's to get somewhere in life. What does it mean to get somewhere in life? Or it's to get money, which is the case of 99.5% of the world, of the Goyish world, is they work hard in order to get money. Because what is money? Money is an expression of having kavod, that they have something. I have a car, I have a house, I have sustenance. Why do you care about sustenance? Not just to survive, but people work even beyond just survival. They want to enjoy themselves. They want to have something to do. And what it's at some type of an honor. The money gives them the honor. And other people have the running, they want a power, they want a higher position at work, they want advance, people want to run for president, vice president. People have the attitude of becoming something, become a doctor, become a lawyer, not just for the sake of surviving, but they want the honor. It's something honorable. When you ask a teenager, what do you want to do when you go to university? Well, I'm going to do this and that because I'm going to BA and AB and all these type of degrees. Why mainly? What's the drive behind that? Honor. So we see from this, Hashem, he put in the nature of society to have honor, to run after something, power and money, which are expressions of honor. Why is that? Rav Nosson explains this, is that because really on the spiritual, the source of all of the creation is kavod. Rabbi Nachman, if you remember, we saw this in the Torah Ayeh, which is LIkutey Mohoran part 2, lesson 12. He said, Rabbi Nachman, that there's 10 asar ma'amarot nivra olam. The world was created with 10 utterances. And each utterance, each ma'amar, those are the 10 utterances in the creation in Bereshit. Vayomer Elokim, and the Lord said 9 times, and we said this Bereshit, which is the hidden utterance, remember? So he says each ma'amar has a kavod, an honor associated with it. The honor of Hashem is revealed through the trees, through the sky, through the sun, through the moon, through the fish, through the water, through vegetation, through people. There's a kavod revealed of Hashem through His creation. And as our goal, to reconnect, to reveal from the world Hashem's honor. Hashem created the whole world. It says, Kol hanikra bishmi v'lichvodi berativ yetzartiv af asitiv. Hashem says everything that was created was for the sake of my name and my honor. Did I shape it, form it, and create it? All those terms. So everything is rooted for the honor of Hashem, to reveal the honor of Hashem, which means that Hashem's in charge, to reveal the kavod of Hashem, that His glory is revealed, and the glory that of Hashem is revealed to show He's in charge. Why does Hashem need that? He needs your awareness that He's in charge. Why does Hashem need that? So like the Mekubalim, the Kabbalists explain that the only way for Hashem to give of His goodness is that if there was a creation. One of the reasons they give for the creation was Hashem wanted an external kivyachol existence to benefit from His goodness. Hashem is good, but it doesn't help to recognize His goodness if there's no recipient. So in our limited brains, this is the explanation given for the creation, that Hashem wanted to have a recipient for His good, so this is the world. So now, when Hashem's glory and honor is revealed, that Hashem's in charge, Hashem hu Elokim, Hashem echad, right? The glory of Hashem, Kadosh, Kadosh, Hashem, Kadosh, 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 Hashem tzivot melech haaretz kevodo. The whole world is full of His glory. All that is to make you aware that Hashem's in charge. Why? So that you don't get caught up in the concealment of the world. Rather, you turn to Hashem now for everything. If now Hashem is the one in charge, that means that I can turn for Him for everything. He's the power. He's the one behind everything else. So it's shayach to run after Hashem. So this is the kavod, right? So now this is the deeper essence, that the nefesh is rooted in kavod, and it's in the nature of the world to run after power and honor, which shows that on the spiritual that's the case also. That really it's Hashem's kavod that's behind everything, and that's the trick of life. The trick of life is, it's not kochi ve'otzim yadi, that me, I'm becoming famous, me, I'm making money, me, I'm becoming somebody in life. No, I'm nothing. Rather, it's now the awareness of Hashem's honor more and more and more in life. And the more you connect to Hashem's kavod, the more Hashem gives to your nefesh, gives to you. So that now he's saying that this is the idea, that the nefesh is rooted in kavod. On the pshat we understood that you see from the world, how it's the makeup of the society. So the root, because that is like that, it is like the way of people to run after power and honor and prestige and money, because the root of the soul is in kavod. And kavod is such a big thing in the world, like Rabbi Nachman brings in the story of the Master of Prayer, the Baal Tefillah, story number 12. When Rabbi Nachman is discussing there, the group of people who concluded that the main thing in life is honor. So he says there's something which is very true, something which you see today. He says, you see that the whole goal of the world is honor. Even after somebody passes away, why do people come to honor, pay last respects to the person, they're doing a levaya, right? So you pay the last respects and they tell the dead person, everything we did here was for you. The person's dead now. He's not he's dead. He's not going to talk back to you. It's a piece of flesh. But they say, everything we're doing is for your honor. And people don't expect anything back from the person or anything. But you see from this that honor is a big thing that goes with a person even after their death. Even after they pass away, there's a levaya. When a big Rav passes away, there's a big levaya. You understand? The kavod, the respect, is a big thing in the world. Even after a person passes away, that's a big thing. So it shows that the root of the nefesh is rooted in the idea of kavod, of honor, of respect, of glory. Fine. So now he said, ukisha nefesh mistaleket. So then we understand now. When a soul passes on, it goes back to its root, which is honor, kavod, sheu shorsha, which is the root of the nefesh, bivchinat. And here's the verse Rabbi Nachman brings from Yeshaya. It says in Yeshaya, kvod Hashem ya'asfecha. The honor, the glory of Hashem will gather you in. So it fits in perfectly to what we're saying. With the asifa, the gathering in is a term also when a person passes away. So ne'esaf, the soul is gathered in. Gathered in to the place of the souls, the Gan Eden, right? So it's saying, Kvod Hashem, the glory of Hashem is what's gathering you in. Your nefesh is going back to its root, which is where? Kvod Hashem. And you see, the pasuk says Kvod Hashem, not just Kavod. Until now, he's talking about the terminology of Kavod. But in this pasuk, he adds Kvod Hashem to indicate we're talking about the honor of Hashem. That the honor of Hashem is what gives the sustenance to the soul. And another important point is, you can't do anything in Yiddishkeit, you can't do anything in Avodat Hashem unless you value yourself. What does it mean yourself? That you value your nefesh, which means that you value your good points. You value your tefillah. You don't say, as if Hashem listens to my davening, look how I'm davening, it's all schlepping upside down. No. I believe that Hashem listens to my davening. I believe that Hashem loves me. I believe that Hashem wants to hear my davening. So this is the idea of kavod. You're giving the kavod to your nefesh. In order for the nefesh to develop and do things, you have to have this aspect of kavod behind it. The idea of respecting is basically valuing the good points in you, in your nefesh. My tefillin, my tefillin is not a joke. My putting on tefillin is not a joke. My Shabbos has a value. My limud Torah, even though I'm diverted by many bad thoughts during the day, chas v'shalom, or many bad things, and I do other things which are not so proper, maybe even chas v'shalom averot and everything. But my nefesh has a value. And that value comes from the kavod, which is the root of the nefesh. You can only begin to value your nefesh if the factor of kavod is there. And that's the source. Being aware that the nefesh is rooted in kavod will enable you to do much more in life. You won't say, I'll just drop everything, what do I need this? No. You say, Hashem entrusted me with chelek elokim imal. That's Rav Noson's wording, by the way. He says, my soul is a piece of God. I have a piece of Hashem within me. You have to realize that. You are you, fine. You are whatever. But you have a pikadon. You have Hashem put something in you, a pikadon. Like, what is it? So he explains from this pasuk in Yeshaya, sheistalkut v'asifat hanefashot hem letoch hakavod, kisham shorsham kanisgad el. With the passing and the gathering, and that's what he said. The pasuk said, kvod Hashem ya'asfecha, the honor, the glory of Hashem will gather you in. Gather you in. Ya'asef, asifa it's called. It's gathering it in. There's a lot of depth. Why passing away is called asifa. That's another question to ask and how it's connected to this concept, all these ideas here. So he said that Al-Kupani, he says, Istalkut, the passing and the gathering of the souls is into the honor, to the glory, the Tocha Kavod, because that's the root of the soul, as mentioned above. Well, again, Kisheba Kavod Chadash La'adam, so therefore, because of this, when a new honor comes to a person, and this happens in life, you have a new honor, that means many things. That means, or situations in life get much easier. What took 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you killed yourself to do certain items, it becomes, chit-chat becomes much easier, whether in learning or whether in doing things. Like for example, Shabbos preparations for some people in the past was so hard and burdensome, and then it gets higher. This is also illustrated in Rabbi Nachman's story of the Chacham and the Tam, the sophisticated and the simpleton, where the Chacham, he went to Warsaw because he wanted to discover the world. He wanted to become somebody. Again, he wanted kavod. So there he saw a special profession of these guys who would deliver fabrics. And they would have the fabric rolled on their shoulders, and they had a special type of shoes with spitzes sticking out and have a fancy hat. And these guys would go delivering, this special garment and it's a special material to the customers, to the clients. And he saw this was a very fitting and good job. So, but they told him, listen, it starts. You start off with doing harder work, and then as you advance, it gets less. It gets much easier. So the beginning, you get paid less, and you have to climb up many stairs, like 5, 10 flights, whatever, to deliver the material to the customers. So he was plutzing doing it. But you see this point that it's illustrated in life. That's how it is. And when someone starts a job, for example, they give him low wage and harder job, and then if he's persistent, then they elevate him. So even on Pshat, on the way of society, the world, that there's new times of new kavod, new honor, right? That's how the world is also. That when a beginner and amateur starts, so it's harder work, lower pay, whatever, less honor, and then as he goes on, he gets an up, he gets a bonus, and then he gets a boost up. I forgot the word I said in English. And they elevate his position, his status. Fine. In spirituality, the same thing also. That you have people when they begin learning Gemara, begin learning Chumash and everything, it's a killer. They break their head an hour just to finish this, this sugya, this whole Rashi or this Tosfot and everything. But as time passes on, it becomes much more quicker. That's in learning. Also, in Avodat Hashem, some people have a hard time getting up early, whatever, or getting up at midnight, and they kill themselves for these certain devotions. But afterwards, it becomes easier, and other things now are the challenge. Other higher things in life, right? So that's what you see. There's kavod chadash, and it goes even a step deeper. That things you found difficult. For example, there's a guy who had a difficulty in guarding his eyes or in watching his tongue and everything. In the beginning, when he started doing the devotions in Avodat Hashem and working on his midot, it was very hard. But then it became easier. Baruch Hashem opened the doors, and there were horizons. So all these things are called kavod chadash, that Hashem sends your way in your lifetime, as if He's honoring you. He's giving you a new honor. He wants to elevate your position. He's giving you a kavod chadash. This happens in life. You don't stay in jail for your whole life. You don't stay in a low position, but you're expected to, and it's going to happen that Hashem is going to lift you up. He's going to boost you in areas in life, as long as unconditionally you don't give up, that you keep on going. You keep on going, you'll see that Hashem begins to push you upwards. And it's called kavod chadash. So now he says that happens, but you have to be careful. V'alken, kesheba kavod chadash la'adam. So therefore, thus, when a new honor comes to a person, tzarich lizaher or lishamer. Person has to be very careful and cautious. Because why? If now kavod is the root of the soul, so and we said from this verse in Yeshaya that when a person passes away, they go back to kavod. So if now a new kavod honor is being revealed to me, it could chas v'shalom be coming in order to take my soul, chas v'shalom. Ki ulai ba kavod chas v'shalom. Perhaps the honor is coming to me, God forbid, b'shul histalkut, chas v'shalom, to take away a soul. Because now if the root of the nefesh is kavod, so maybe now that the time has come for the nefesh to pass away. This can mean physically, chas v'shalom, physical, like when a person becomes a very famous rabbi, a very famous person, there's a danger that chas v'shalom, he can lose souls from this, whether family members or himself, chas v'shalom, but also coming on a spiritual level. You got somewhere in life, and now you sent honor, and if you take the honor improperly, you're not careful, so you can lose all the status, all the good that Hashem gave to you. If now you're taking the honor improperly, you can lose it, chas v'shalom. You can lose all these extra souls that came your way to elevate you and re-energize you in life. You could lose it. The kavod was being given to you, so that the nefesh should go back to its source, the honor. But this will finish. But in the main, the good is the upper hand in life. And in the main, honor comes the way of a person for good. In other words, not to take away his soul, but to bring a new soul. You have to understand, the revelation of kavod, since the kavod is the source of the nefesh, so it's two things. Or kavod, honor is coming to a person to take away the nefesh that he has, or kavod is coming to bring a new nefesh with it. Because kavod is always connected with the nefesh. So it's one of two things. But in the main, he says it's for the second category. That the kavod is coming for the good. Dahainu, in other words, kesheba nefesh chadasha la'adam, when a new soul comes to a person, in other words, a new benefit, a new opportunity, things are moving in life in the positive direction. And also in pshat, a person has a new soul, like a new child is born, for example. Also, azai hi ba'a melubeshet ba'kavod. The way is that the soul comes enclosed, wrapped
in honor. Because honor is the source, so it's like a mother. Shehi em kol chai. It's like the mother of all nature, which is like Chava, as mentioned above. The mother of all living, which is the nefesh, because the nefesh is what gives the person life. If there's no nefesh in the person's dead, chas v'shalom, right? V'alken, so therefore, kesheba kavod chadash la'adam, therefore when a new honor comes to a person, al pirov, in the main, uletova, it's for the benefit, for the good of the person. Dahainu sheba nefesh chadasha la'adam, al yidei zeh kavod. That the new nefesh is coming to the person through this kavod being revealed to him. So in the main it's good, but still you have to be cautious. The caution and the warning still applies, because you have to guard the soul. You have to treat it respectfully. If it's coming to you, if it's coming, a soul is coming to you, so you have to respect it. And in other words, you have to treat it with the proper respect and to do the proper thing, which also means to respect yourself, not to act like a zilzal, not to be a low life chas v'shalom, but to act in a respectable manner like a Jew is supposed to, in honor of the piece of Hashem that you have within you.